Make sure you check out the link in my description, as long as the links to my Twitter and Tumblr, so you can stay involved with bail funds, petitions, any and all movements around the Black Lives Matter movement and all the other movements that are happening now. Hello Friendzies, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about shame. And what an intro that is, isn't it? Alrighty. So, I started talking about this in last week's video a little bit because I started kind of mentioning this video. I want to talk about shame and my complete lack of it. Now, shame is a really interesting emotion because it's really the only emotion I can think of that we feel because somebody else told us to. Which is the thing about shame. Shame isn't really like... I feel like shame isn't like a normal human thing. I feel like humans aren't really capable of feeling shame unless they're told to. Which that's exactly what shame is. It's, we are told by other people to feel bad about something. Whether it's something we do, something we wear, something we say, like, we're taught to feel bad about it. And it's bullshit, and I hate it. And I don't think I have felt shame a day in my life, or at least since I was a very young child. So we're gonna talk about that kind of situation. Now, I've said this in another video, and I don't remember exactly which video it was. I've mentioned it before, but I talked about it a little more in depth in a video that I can't remember which one it was. But my mom raised me very opposite of the way she was raised, and between religion and just her environment as like a child and a young adult, my mom was taught to be ashamed of a lot of things and have a lot of other negative, like, upbringing stuff. And she raised me completely different than how she was raised, which thank God, because she talks about different things, like, from when she was younger and, like, different situations, and I, like, legitimately can't even fathom that, like, that situation, let alone how she reacted versus how I would react. Maybe because I'm also a huge bitch and my mom's like the sweetest person alive. I can't even imagine sometimes even being in that situation, let alone reacting the way she did. So with all of that, I have not really felt shame ever that I can remember. And don't get me wrong, I'm a human being. I am not perfect. I am not like all-knowing and all that nonsense. So, I mean, there's obviously things I feel bad about, and there should be some things you feel bad about. Like if you're being an asshole and just being a shitty person overall to other people, just a shitty person to the world, you know what I mean? This doesn't include people that are fucking terrible. This is inclusive for us. Because I hope you're not watching this and, like, supporting cops and, like, being a homophobe. You know what? You get what I'm saying. I really, like, I'm a human being, so obviously I have experienced shame at some point in my life, but I've said this a million times too, I'm really lucky and blessed to be raised the way I was, because it's not something that I deal with a lot. And the thing is, because shame is something that other humans kind of teach you that you have to feel, it can really affect self-esteem, self-confidence, like self-worth. It can affect like relationships and just like your life in general. Let's just... I think you guys can tell by the way I present myself in my videos, and if you know me in real life and just the way my personality is, I'm very like boisterous and in your face all the time, constantly. I think you can obviously tell by this outfit as well, because why not talk about shame with my tits out? I don't know how to go about this, so I'm kind of like stopping and starting because I don't really know how to say what's in my brain. If you look at me, I mean, I'm straight passing, but I'm a bisexual fat woman. And, I mean, that's 2 out of 3 that people are gonna hate me for. Like, the shitty people are gonna hate me for that. Yes, I am speaking from a place of privilege, I am aware. This is, you know what I mean, we're just laying the groundwork. So I'm a fat bisexual woman. And I have never once been apologetic for any of that. And those three things, in society's overall scope and worldview, not a single one of those things is okay. I was bullied as, like, a kid. I said this in a video before. What video was this? Oh my god, you guys need to help me out because my memory is garbage. I was bullied as a kid, obviously, for being fat and for, like, being the weird kid. And it kind of stopped fairly early on because I didn't give a single shit. And the kids got bored with that because people bully you to get a reaction out of it. And, you know, they're trying to make you feel shame. And when you don't show it, that's not always true, but at least in my situation, when you show that you don't care, you get left alone. Again, in my situation, I know I'm one of the lucky ones. So in that sense, I never felt shame for being what I am. In my head, it was always like when kids were like, Heather, you're fat. I was like, okay, and your hair is brown. What are we talking about? What are we doing? And, you know, being bisexual to the point where, like, what other video did I say this in? Oh my god, I feel horrible. I can't remember what things I say in videos. Where I'm bisexual and people are like, oh, so you're basically just straight. And I'm like, no, my preference is actually higher in the sense of women than it is in men, so fuck that. And, you know, society can't picture a sexuality that doesn't revolve around men. And being a woman who knows what she likes and knows what she wants and doesn't put up with shit like men that are loud and obnoxious, I'm just straight up like, what are you doing? Are you gonna tone it down, or are you gonna, like, there was a situation at work one time where a coworker raised their voice for literally no reason. It was a man, and I was like, what are you doing? Was that necessary? And he didn't know what to say. He didn't know how to react, so of course he stormed off. Just, I don't know kind of where, I know what I want to say, but it's not coming out the way I want it to. You know what I mean? It's all in the brain, but it's not coming out of the mouth right. And I feel like I'm word vomiting. When people try to make you feel bad about things, try really hard. It's obviously easier said than done, but try to remember. Did you try to remember if, like, somebody comments on, like, your hair or your outfit or, like, the way you do something? It would make sense, maybe more to talk about it in the sense of, like, the autism spectrum and the different ways people stim. I don't know if it's necessarily just the autism spectrum or if it's just neurodivergent people in general. The ways people stim. People and, like, kids that have ADHD and, like, need to, like, have fidget toys, things like that. People try to make you feel bad. They try to tell you that, like, it's distracting other people, like, you're being too loud, you look ridiculous, like, when people do, like, hand flaps and clicking and, like, I know some stims are, like, vocal. People try to make you think that you're distracting other people. They try to make you think that, like, you look ridiculous, you're acting up, you're causing a scene. And that's, just try to remember that if it makes you feel good, whether it's stimming, whether it's an outfit you're wearing, whether it's being just, like, loud and talking and making jokes. That's my big one. I'm always loud. My voice is just loud. I understand there are some situations where it's not appropriate, but it's also not something I'm super, like, conscious of and really keep an eye on, because 9 times out of 10 it's not a situation where, like, I do need to be quiet. Like, I don't know, what would be an appropriate time, like church? Or maybe, like, swearing near little kids? I don't know. I'm not near little kids a lot, to be honest with you, so I have a lot of young nieces and nephews, but I don't know. I feel like everybody else around me kind of swears first, so I don't think that counts. Anyway, I'm like a loud person, and I'm always kind of loud, but I feel like a lot of people shush me, and I can't ever really figure out why, so then it's the situation where I get kind of shushed, and then I'm overthinking it and trying to be like, okay, well, what did I say? What did I do wrong? Do they just not want to hear what I have to say? And that kind of, like, spirals into me not feeling good about myself and worrying that, like, maybe I should just shut my mouth and never say anything again. And that's kind of what I mean, and I feel like that might not be a great example, but I hope you're kind of understanding what I'm trying to say. Try to remember when somebody says something like that, that you weren't doing anything wrong. You were just being yourself. You were just doing what you do. And the people that try to make you feel bad for it, whether they kind of mean it like nicely or not, it's still not cool to call people out on things like that. Like people that are like, hey, like, call out your stims. Whether they might mean it, you know what I mean? Like they don't want other people to, like a bully to say like something horrible to you, and it might be your friend that's trying to be like, dude, like calm it down, you know, like they're walking by. But it's still not cool. It's still not a cool thing to say to somebody. It's still not, like, saying anything that could make a person feel bad about themselves just isn't cool. And that's the shame aspect, because whether they mean it maliciously or not, you're gonna be ashamed. You're gonna feel like you need to change that behavior. You're gonna feel like you need to change your outfit. You need to change your hair. And that's just shitty, and I hate it. So we just need to learn to change our language, and like as a society, as humans, and we need to, I feel like it needs to be a lot more focused on making sure people don't feel bad for being who they are. Because again, I'm sitting here and some people, like even my mom, might watch this video and be like, why is Heather talking about this with her tits just straight out? Just because the way she was raised, just because of like different parts of her personality the way she is. This is not something she would ever wear, and this is probably not something she would ever personally talk about, which is fine. But I know for a fact my mom's not going to come to me and be like, Heather, you need to cover up in your videos, because then that's going to make me feel like, oh, like, okay, maybe I do, you know, need to cover more up, because my mom knows how I am, and she knows the person I am, and she knows what I'm comfortable in. I'm never going to do anything that doesn't make me feel comfortable. I am in like short shorts right now in this, and my mom knows that's just the kind of person I am, so she's not going to comment on it. And then I'm not going to have to hear that comment and then try to like second guess myself, because then if I wore something else that didn't necessarily make me feel like me, but you know, I was covered up, that would be, you know, an aspect of shame. That would make me feel like I have to change the person I am to like assimilate to something. You know what I mean? And there's a lot more to it. Obviously, there's a lot more of like, in the sense of like me wearing this outfit, it's a lot more of a sense of like, oh, but like young kids watch your channel, and it's the sense of like what we view as appropriate for children, and like if people are gonna be creepy and weird and like sexualize me and like send me weird messages and be like, yo, I loved your tits in that video. Like it's a lot of aspects to it, but it's a lot of that fake it till you make it stuff too. I'll put the card up for that video because I do remember saying things in that video. If somebody says something that you then feel ashamed of, for whatever part of you that it is, I want you to go back and watch that fake it till you make it video, because that is another kind of situation. And a lot of that is very self-confidence related and maybe not necessarily similar to this video. And obviously that is, I don't want to necessarily say ableist, but that video can kind of be seen as ableist because unlike this video, I didn't talk about, you know, autism spectrum and neurodivergency, and it's not really the same because autism is a whole different situation. It is not personally a neurodivergency that I am experienced with. As far as I know, I am not on the autism spectrum. I've never gotten diagnosed, but as far as I know, I am not a part of that, so I can't really speak too much on that in a way that would have any groundwork, would have any effect, because I don't want to put my foot in my mouth and talk about things that I don't understand. So I do get that it is different in a sense, especially because the way autism is viewed with like anti-vax moms and like birth defect and all that nonsense. But I hope between this video and the fake it till you make it video that you guys, if you have a hard time with this kind of stuff, that you guys kind of start learning how to take care of yourselves and be more confident in who you are. Because, I mean, it's cheesy and everyone said it in a million different ways, and I'm not going to say it any newer or any better than anybody else. But there's only one you, And you're pretty freaking cool as far as I'm concerned. I haven't met you probably, but I think you're pretty cool. And if we ever do meet, let me know that I said that and I'll be like, holy shit, yeah, you're right. I'll probably say that before you mention what I said, but you know, either way. Did any of that make sense? Did I just kind of go off on the tangent I always go on? I don't know. I feel like sometimes when I make videos, I black out a little bit. And maybe that's where all the truth comes out. That's what I'm really thinking comes out of my mouth. You never know. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed. And if you kind of get what I'm saying and want to kind of take the, I don't know, not take the steps to not being ashamed of yourself, because it's human and it's weird. I don't know where I was going with that outro, but thank you guys so much again for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye! I love that in a video talking about how I have literally no shame, my tits are pretty much out for the entire time. And that's on brand.